So we were talking about this past paper yesterday as well. Okay, so this is the next question. Right. So it says the diagram shows an isosceles triangle ACB in which AB is equal to BC, that is equal to 8 centimeters, and AC is 12 centimeters. The arc XC is part of the circle with center A, and the radius is 12, and the arc YC is part of a circle with center B and radius 8. The points A, B, X, and Y lie on the straight line. Show that the angle CBY is 1.445 radians. Okay. Right. So, first of all, I would like to say that most of the times I advise you just read the statement directly, look at the diagram, and if needed, then read the description. But this time around, the description was important because this wasn't a straightforward diagram. Okay. So, we can see that the arc XC is part of the center, and then the arc YC is part of the center, and we are to find the angle CBY in radians. So we need to find this angle. Okay, so can anyone tell me how to find this angle? Right, so we are not sure about the shaded area or the area of this sector CBY, and we are not sure about the arc length and stuff like that. So it means that we would be using something else, and that is basically this angle. We can find this angle because ABC is a triangle and three sides are given. So using the cos rule, which I'm pretty sure you guys have studied in O levels, using that, we can find the angle B. And once we have the angle B, we can easily find the angle CBY. Okay. So I would want you guys to try it out, and then I'll do it in 2 minutes if you're not able to do it. I'll just write down the formula if anyone is not able to recall. So for the cos rule, we use b squared equals a squared plus c squared minus 2ac into cos of b. So we are interested in finding out this angle right here. That is why we are going to use this. Okay, very good, Haris, but you're supposed to find the answer in radians. You need to show that the angle CBY is 1.445 radians, okay? So I'll wait for another minute. Please try doing it. These sessions are supposed to be practice session just so you guys get to practice in front of me. It is an easy question. You are just supposed to find the angle ABC first, and then you'll do pi minus the answer, and that would give you the blue angle CBY. Yes, please open up your mind and start practicing. It's very, very easy. Everything is there in front of you. Okay, so I only got response from one student, so I'll do it. Very good, Haris. Well done. Okay, so as I was telling you already, this practice is for you guys, and you need to do it on your own. Just so if you come across any issue, any problem, I can help you with that. Okay. Now, whatever the question was, let's read this part. Show that the angle CBY is 1.445 radians, correct to four significant figures. We need to find the angle CBY, and everything is in front of you on the diagram. Now, by looking at the diagram, I can clearly see that the only method of finding CBY is to first find out the red angle and then use that angles on a straight line. The sum of angles is 180 or pi on a straight line, right? So how do I find the angle B? For that, I can use this cos rule. This side is small b, this side is small a, and this side is small c. So b squared would mean 12 squared equals a squared plus c squared minus 2 into 8 into 8 into cos of b, which I need to calculate. I need to calculate b basically. So this would give me, I can take this whole thing to the other side and I can bring this 12 square over here. So this would give me 2 into 64 cos b equals 64 plus 64 minus 144. Now we can just simplify things, and cos b would turn out to be minus 1 by 8. Now just make sure that your calculator is in radians mode, and then press cos inverse minus 1 divided by 8, and it is going to give you 1.6961. Okay, the final answer is supposed to be in four significant figures, so it's always better that you should do your working one more than the number of significant figures required. Okay, because if you start rounding off things in the very beginning, our answer would be different from the examiner's answer and stuff like that. Okay, now this angle is B. To be precise, ABC. I'm interested in finding out CBY, so I will do CBY is going to be sum of angles on a straight line is pi minus this angle 1.6961, and that is going to be 1.445 radians. I need to give the final answer in radians. Now, why did I use pi? Because obviously I'm talking about the angle in radians. So if this 1.6961 was in radians, this pi would also be the angle in radians, right? So anything that you were not able to understand, Munja, Haris, Ashal, and all the new students? Any doubts with this one? Okay, Munja, is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right. Very good. Right, let's talk about the next question. It's a 4-mark question. It says, find the perimeter of the shaded region. Okay, so this is the question. Let's go up to the diagram again. So the perimeter of the shaded region, so I'll just erase all this. I'll just add the angle value which we just got. This is 1.445. Now let's say if one of you or any student was not able to find this angle in radians, but still you would be knowing that this is the value. So if this is being used in the next part, it's fine. Even if you are getting this wrong, you would only lose marks for the first part and not for the second part. Okay, so now we need to find the perimeter of this shaded part. So I need to find XC. XC is basically the arc of circle with center A, and YC, that is the arc with center B, and then I need to find this XY. Okay, how do I find YC? Please start your working quickly and tell me the value of YC. I'll be waiting. we are working out to find out the arc YC. We know the arc length formula. It is angle that is 1.445 divided by 2 pi because it is in radians multiplied by 2 pi r. So we can use the formula directly. 2 pi and 2 pi would be cancelled and this is going to be 8. Okay. So this would give me 11.56 centimeters. Yes, very good, Haris. Excellent. Very well done. Okay, so only Haris is participating. Please, I would want all of you to participate. The arc length of YC has turned out to be 11.56. So I told you how to find the arc length. Okay, the formula is in front of you. If the angle is in theta, for finding out arc length, you can directly do r theta. So r is the radius and theta is the angle. Okay, that is making the arc. The next one is XC. Please find the arc length of XC. I'll wait. The angle is supposed to be this one. Okay, now please pay attention. For the arc length XC, the angle would be at A, and then we'll talk about the radius. But how do I find the angle at A? Let's talk about that first, okay? So we have multiple ways. You can either use cos rule and then find it, although I would not advise you doing that because it would take a lot of time. Another way could be that we actually calculated the angle ABC that turned out to be 1.69, I suppose. Let's scroll down and see. Yes, 1.696. Okay. So this turned out to be 1.696. And I know that this is an isosceles triangle. So let's say this angle is theta. If this is theta, this would also be theta because of the angle side relationship. Since the two sides are same, the angles would also be same. 1696. So I know that the sum of angles 1696 plus theta is equal to 180 degrees or 2 pi radians because I am talking about the angle in radians. So 2 pi is going to be, 2 theta is going to be 2 pi minus 1.696, and now I can find the value of theta. Please do it quickly and tell me your answers. Yes, exactly. Okay. Very well done, Nishal. Thank you. Sum of angles is pi, not 2 pi. Very well done. And now the final answer is going to be pi minus 1.696 divided by 2. So this would give you 0.723 radians. Okay. So the angle BAC turned out to be 0.723. Now quickly just find the arc length XC. This has turned out to be 0.723. Okay. So now we are working out to find out this arc length. The angle is 0.723 divided by, okay, and let's do it directly. So I told you it would be r theta. It's again in radians. So this is theta multiplied by r. What would be r? We're
12.
talking about, sorry?
12.
Very good. So this is going to give us the arc length. That would be 8.67. Very good, Ashal and Haris. Excellent. Okay, very good, Manja. So this would be the arc length. Now, this part was easy. How do I find xy? That was my question basically. This is what I wanted to ask initially. How do we find xy now? The question was to find the parameter of the shaded part. We have yc, we have xc. Now, how do I find xy? Everything is there in front of you. No difficult calculations are required. I'll wait for 2 minutes and please try finding out xy, okay? And the hint is that no formulas are used, nothing is used, everything is there in front of you.
So BA. Okay. Since BC is 8 centimeters, so BY is also 8 centimeters.
Very
So
good.
XY should be 4 centimeters.
This should be 8 centimeters completely. Okay, and what about xy? Yes, very good, Haris and Nishal. Good, Munja, you're going in the right direction. By is 8. Use a similar concept.
So that means that X should be the center of BXY.
Okay, now, okay, I'll tell you. So basically, AC is 12. That means AX would also be 12, right? If AX is 12, this means BX would be 4. If this is 4, this would also be 4, right? That means XY is going to be 4. So now you need to sum this up. Please add all the sides quickly. Very good, Haris. So the arc length or the parameter of the shape is going to be
8, 19 plus 4, 24.
24.23. Okay. So the parameter would be the sum of YC, XY, and XC, 11.56 plus 8.67 plus 4, and that would give you 24.53 centimeters. Be careful while writing down the units and everything, okay? So this is how we solve such questions. All right, okay. Let's talk about next question now. The function f is defined by this thing. Express this in this form where a and b are constants. It's just a 2-mark question. I've told you how to do this. We need to use what? Completing square method. So please try doing it with me. Right, so the very first thing for completing square is that this x square should be alone. So I'll take 2 common. That is why we have 2 outside here as well. I would be left with x squared minus 6x plus 7 by 2. Okay. Next, I am going to write it down again. 2 outside, then I have this bracket. Then
Mhm.
x squared minus 6x. Now this number is 6. I'll find the half of 6, that is 3. So I am going to add 3 square and I am going to subtract 3 square. Plus 7 by 2 was there already. And now we are going to think about it as a complete square. So this would become x minus 3 whole square. And I have 2 minus 9 plus 7 by 2. And after simplification, I'll multiply, I'll just do it quickly. X minus 3 squared. And that would give me what? This is minus 9 plus 3.5. So what am I going to get? Let's write it down this way, minus 11 by 2. And when this 2 would be multiplied, I would be left with 2 into x minus 3 squared and then minus 11. This is going to be the answer. Yes, very good, Haris. Excellent. So B is minus 11 and A is minus 3. Okay, this is how we show such questions. So always remember for such questions, we apply the completing square method. Yes, Ashal and Munja, is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay, all right. Let's scroll down and let's talk. Okay, now it says state the range of f. For the range of f, now I'll tell you a thing. Okay, this is the function. Now whenever we come across, like most of the students, whenever they look at this term range, they think that we need to plug in some values in the function and then that would give you the range. Yes, in some cases, whenever you have the range for domain, whenever you have the interval for domain, in that case, you can do it that way. But otherwise, always imagine the graph of this thing in your mind and then think about the range. Okay. So, one second. Very good, Haris. Excellent. Okay. So let's try making the graph quickly. This is the axis, it's the y-axis, this is the x-axis. Okay. Now I know that when my graph would be, sorry, right. So for this graph, I need to think about the turning point first. Okay. And once I have my turning point, I need to think about the shape. So first of all, it is a quadratic equation. So the two shapes could be this or this. Since I have positive x squared, when I will open this up, it will be positive x squared. So it is going to be a U-shaped graph. Okay. Right. The next thing is the points. Okay. So if I talk about the graph initially, this would be the thing. It is going to be somewhere here. This is 3. So the graph would have looked something of this type initially. Okay. Let's say if you had x minus 3 only. Okay, I'm talking about that scenario. This would have been the shape. Okay. Now this 2 would have an impact, but this 2 would not have any impact on the range. The only impact on range would be whatever we are adding and subtracting to the function, that is minus 11. So I am going to take this 11 units down. So let's say this is minus 11 and this would be the new shape and this would be the turning point now. So what do I see? Now I can see that the value of y is greater than and equal to minus 11. Okay. So the range would be greater than and equal to minus 11. It should be above that part. Sorry, I did not understand your question, Haris. Do we put the bracket as 0? Okay, I'll tell you. For finding the x, yes, you can do it exactly. You can do it that way, that on the x-axis, you know that y would be 0, right? But if, let's say, this is the question, so you know things are very straightforward, but yes, the actual method is that I am supposing that y would be 0 and the value of x would be 3. Okay, so this would be the shape, and I can clearly see that the value of y, or the interval for y of this graph, would be that y is greater than or equal to -11. So the range would be y, or I'll write down f of x because we're talking about range of f. So f of x would be greater than or equal to -11. You can use y as well, that's completely fine, but this is how we do it. Yes. Anything that you were not able to understand in this part? Okay, and what about you, Munja, and the other students? Please tell me.
Oh no, I understood, ma'am.
Okay, all right, very good. Let's talk about the next part now. It's important. Okay. Now it says the function g is defined by 2x squared minus 12x plus 7. For x is less than equal to k, state the largest value of k for which g has an inverse. Okay. Okay, Haris. All right. Okay. So for this question, you need to state the largest value of k for which g has an inverse. Okay. Now I've told you that whenever you have a function and its inverse, the relationship is opposite. For finding the domain of the inverse, we look at the range of the function and vice versa. Okay. So how do we find it? First thing is that this is just a 1 mark question. It means that things are straightforward. And this g of x is same as the f of x we had initially. So I'll just write it down the other form. You can write it as g of x can be written as 2 into x minus 3 squared minus 11. This is g of x. Okay. Now
Mhm.
x is less than or equal to k. So we need to find the largest value of k for which g has an inverse. What is the largest value? Hmm. Let me make the graph quickly once again.
So the largest 3.
Yes, very well done. Excellent. This point is 3. Okay, very good. So this our A turned out to be -3, right? Whatever this coefficient is, whatever this thing is, just take negative of that. And that would be the largest value for which the inverse would exist. Okay. So this k, the largest value of k is going to be 3 because it was -3. So it would be 3. So for the inverse, k should be less than or equal to 3. Okay, all right. Haris, for this question, it said state the largest value of k for which g has an inverse. Okay. When do we have the inverse of a function? For the inverse exists whenever the function is continuous, right? And whenever the function is defined at some point, right? So I've made the shape in front of you, and we are talking about x at this point. Okay. So it says state the largest value of k. How did they define k? This is how they have defined k, that x is less than equal to k. So what is the maximum possible value of this? It would then look like this. Okay. So the largest value of k for which g has an inverse would be this value, the turning point of the coordinate, this value in short, right? This value was -3, but we know that it is -3, but actually the coordinate of the turning point would be 3. So whatever the coordinate of a turning point is, that is what we use, okay? Because we know that is the only point. After that, the value of x is changing. Then this is going to be 3.1 something, and it would be 2.9 something, stuff like that. So this is the only, like, this is the minimum value. You can think about it that way. Yes, it says largest value, but basically the you get the point. The turning point is the stationary point basically. Okay, the turning point, okay, this is the turning point for a maximum curve, this is the turning point for a minimum curve. It's something of this type. This is the turning point, and this is the turning point. And let's say if we had a question, and this, that is a good question, Rishal, and we did not know about this initially. So what you can do is, now since we know differentiation, we can find the derivative, equate it to 0, and that would give you the coordinates of the stationary point. So that would also give you the coordinate, the x coordinate of the stationary point or the maximum point for this case. Okay, all right. Okay, okay. 1 second only. It would be, that is why you were not understanding this. Sorry. 1 second only. I'm sorry. This is supposed to be other way around because this is positive x squared. So it would be of this type. I'm really sorry about this. It would be of this type. Now it would make sense to you guys. Okay.
I thought so.
Okay. Because it is positive x squared. So we know the curve is of this type. And we can write it this way. And that is why it is this.
Mhm.
Yes, is that okay now? Things would get with the next, things would get clear in the next part when we will actually find g inverse. You would actually understand this. Okay, let's try doing that first. The fourth part of this question says, given that g has an inverse, find an expression for g inverse. So we know how to do it. Please do it quickly and tell me the answers for g inverse. For finding the inverse function, we are first
Already
replacing.
find our,
Mhm.
since we have already find our equation there, so
Yes.
we can use y plus 11
Hmm.
is equal to 2x minus 3 close
Very well
brackets,
done. Yes.
yeah, divided by 2 and
Mm-hmm.
divided by 2. Then we find the
Under
square
root.
root of it.
Very good.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay.
And then we add 3, right?
Yeah, plus or minus 3.
Okay, and then we need to replace x and y with g
Yeah.
inverse of x and with x. Very well done. Okay. So let's wait for 2 more minutes. I would want all of the students to do it and then I'll do it. Very good, Haris. And what about Ishal and other students? Okay, all right. So, yes, very good. Let's do it quickly. So, for finding G inverse, what do we know? We can write it this way: y equals. Now, I'm pretty sure that all of us have a different method of doing this, so it's completely fine. Y plus, I'll make x the subject, y plus 11 divided by 2 under the root, and then I can do plus 3. This equals x. Once x is the subject, I can write it this way: g inverse of x, I've replaced x with g inverse of x, equals 3 plus under the root x plus 11 by 2. This is how we do it. Okay, is that okay now? Anything that you were not able to understand, please feel free to ask me. I'll scroll up once again. We have done 2 examples so far. This is the same paper which we discussed yesterday as well. Yes. Any questions? Please ask me if you have any ambiguities. Okay, all right. So let's talk about the next question. Let's see if we can do it or not. Okay. It says the equation of a curve y equals 2x plus 12 by x and the equation of a line y plus x equals k, where k is a constant. Find the set of values of k for which the line does not meet the curve. Okay. So this is your curve and this is the line. You need to find the set of values for which the line does not meet the curve. Now, whenever we come across such situations, we know that if the line is not meeting the curve, like if there is no point of intersection, that means we would not be having any solutions. Okay, that is fair enough. Let's try solving these 2 equations simultaneously and I'll tell you how to deal with such questions. Okay, so for this, I have y equals 2x plus 12 by x, and I have y equals k minus x. I can equate both the y's. You'll notice why I'm doing this. For such questions, we have a fixed method. 2x equals 12 by x equals k minus x. I can take LCM over here, so this would give me x squared, and I can take this x to the other side. So 2x squared plus 12 equals kx minus x squared, and I'll simplify this to get 3x squared minus kx plus 12 equals 0. Now, after simplifying this, I am getting a quadratic equation and I do not want any solutions of x because the curve does not meet the line. So it means that we have 3 types. We have 3 types of discriminants: b square minus 4ac. If it is greater than 0, we have 2 points of intersection. If it is equal to 0, we have one point of intersection, and if it is less than 0, we have no points of intersection. So that is the case. We are going to find the discriminant b square minus 4ac, and it should be less than 0. We need to find such values of k for which this thing is less than 0, because that would give me no solutions. Yes, okay. So I am going to get b squared would be, let's just find out a, b, and c. This is a, this is b, and this is c. So k squared, you can write down minus k squared minus 4 into 3 into 12 is less than 0. So k squared would be less than 12 into 12 is 144. It's k squared. And now when I'll open this, okay, now this is very important point. Now, I've been telling you guys already, whenever you have an inequality and it is a quadratic inequality, always use graphs, okay? So let's say this was the situation. K equals k squared equals 144. So k would have turned out to be plus minus 12, okay? Now I'll make the graph quickly. So the turning points would be minus 12 and positive 12, and it would be a parabola of this type. So now this says k squared is less than 144. So I've told you the method. We write down y equals k squared. And now you can think about it this way. 1 second only. You can write it down this way. Sorry, this was the situation. Yes. Y is equal to this. And then y is less than 0. Okay. So y is less than 0 for these points. And what is the value of k for these points? Minus 12 less less than k, and k is less than 12. I've told you earlier as well, whenever you come across inequalities, always try making the graph and then find the interval for k, because otherwise you would not be able to find it correctly. Yes, any doubts with this part? Anyone who was not able to understand it? It is important. And this is the last part for today. Please tell me quickly if it's okay or not. Okay, very good, Haris. So it should be k would be greater than minus 12, and it would be less than 12. Okay, since we had k squared here, it means that we would be having two values of k, right? Okay, anyone else? Any doubts? Anything that you were not able to understand? Munja and all, Ishal and all the new students.
No, ma'am, thank you.
Okay, Ishal, is that okay? All right. So, okay. All right, perfect. So I'll stop sharing the screen. I'll stop